Okay, are you wondering or have you ever thought about what a recession could mean for the housing market? I think this is on a lot of people's minds right now. And a lot of people automatically assume that if we do enter a recession, home prices are going to come crashing down. But really, realistically, historically speaking, that's not always what happens. So let's talk about it. First, a recession and a housing crash are not the same thing. A recession is simply a slowing down of the economy. And that can happen in a lot of different forms. So it can be, whether that's slower hiring, layoffs, reduced consumer spending, and just overall economic uncertainty. But the housing market doesn't always respond the same way every time. So, one of the biggest misconceptions is that every recession will look like 2008. Now, I wasn't in real estate in 2008, but what I do know is that 2008 was heavily tied to risky lending practices, subprime mortgages, and just a massive oversupply of homes. Today's market is very different. For example, lending standards are generally much stricter, and in many areas, housing inventory is still relatively limited. So, now could a recession impact the housing market? Absolutely. I'm not saying that it can't. But during periods of uncertainty, buyers may actually become more cautious, buyers may become more cautious for sure. Homes may take longer to sell, and sellers may need to price more strategically. And in some markets, prices could soften or level out, but that doesn't automatically mean a dramatic nationwide crash. So just want to kind of, put that out there. Another thing people often don't realize is that mortgage rates sometimes decrease during economic slowdowns as the government tries to stimulate the economy. And lower rates can actually bring buyers back into the market because affordability improves. So ironically, if rates drop significantly during a recession, competition could increase again in certain price points or areas. So ultimately, real estate is also, very local. So what happens nationally may look very, very different from what happens in your specific city, or even neighborhood or price range. Even just take into I think of what's happening here with AI. There's a huge AI boom right here, and it's looking a lot different, this market, than it is in a lot of other areas in the nation. And so that's why it's important not to make, major real estate decisions based only on scary headlines or social media predictions. At the end of the day, the right time to buy or sell, and this is typically always my guidance, usually depends more on your, personal finances, goals, and timeline than trying to perfectly predict the economy. So hope that's helpful. I'm Yannicka Shaka with Coldwell Banker Realty. If you've been thinking about buying or selling, or if you have any questions about today's market, feel free to reach out anytime. Bye for now.